Good morning, Ketcia. How are you?
I'm very, very well. Thank you. And you?
I am well. Today we are going to be talking in that together, just about your experience and who you are as in the world now, showing up as a coach. And I thank you for being here with us today. And I know you took the program with us. When did you graduate?
In 2021. So with everything that was going on with COVID, I thought it was just a great addition to the basic coaching certification that I already had. Thinking about all of the uncertainty that were happening in the world, the level of anxiety that people were experiencing. It really gave me time to reflect on, what could I do in order to contribute to providing the support to our society post-COVID. When I came across the trauma-informed training, it just made total sense to me that could be a tool that I could add to my arsenal of business tool that I could offer to my client.
Yeah. And I know that you were an experienced coach prior to that as well, too. So I remember some of our conversations for sure. So, okay, well, most people know who I am. So my name is Susan Hogarth, and I am one of the co-founders of Moving the Human Spirit, and we are the ones that designed the trauma-informed coaching certification. But Ketcia, let the world know who you are.
Right. So I would describe myself as an entrepreneur, a community activist, a mom of 2 children, and a wife. So in general, in terms of what I'm contributing to the world through my businesses, I focus on providing support in the capacity of either being a teacher, like a trainer, a facilitator, or executive coach. And what I do is provide the support to different clients on the equity, diversity, and inclusivity space. So my role is really to support individuals, corporations, businesses with their EDI efforts, and to always provide that lens in every process, procedures, policies, initiative that they're undertaking. So I come in and I get retained as either a coach, or depending on what they like me to do, at which level of the capacity that they like me to support them as. I could either come in as a consultant, come in as a coach, come in as a trainer, as a facilitator as well. Is a way that I sometimes come into different organizations, institutions, and support them with those efforts. So that could look like where I do an environmental assessment to start. That's usually how I like to start, to have an initial conversation with the client, try to understand what are their needs, what are their gaps, how I could best serve them. And then from there, once I come in, I do an initial either EDI audit or an environmental assessment to really assess what's going on, get the pulse of the organization, and from there provide a plan in order to meet some of the objectives that they have.
I love that, environmental assessment.
Yes.
That seems very organic and real to me.
Nice. You don't know. You have to be open to finding out exactly who you are. And as coach, we support people in doing that.
Yeah, absolutely. I call it the layers of the onion, right? You have an onion, and you peel it back, and you peel it back, and you peel it back till you have this center that is very sweet and rich in flavor.
Yeah, well, I haven't tasted an onion yet, but I'll find out next time. I'll unpeel it and eat the core of it.
The core, yeah, absolutely. So tell me a little bit about your journey into coaching, and why did you become a coach?
It was a natural progression. I was already coaching people naturally, because I think one of my gifts is that people feel very comfortable coming to me. I would be that person in the workplace who actually knew the secret of everybody. So like employees and colleagues would come to me and tell me, oh my God, this is what's happening. This person is, annoying me. And the same person that was being annoyed by it comes to me and tell, oh my God, I can't believe, you know what I mean? And I would sometimes try to facilitate these relationships without them knowing. So I would kind of like try to express to one person, maybe if you look at this way, maybe that would be, a way to resolve the situation. And I would do the same thing with the other person. So I was already a person that people came to, they trusted, and they kind of provided some of their concern. And I would try my best to use that that energy to help them. And moving forward, I try to, to be a positive change in people's lives. So instead of making things worse, I would try my best to improve the situation. And I would find myself pretty successful at that. So then when the idea of becoming a certified coach fell into my desk, I figured, you know what, perhaps that would be a great opportunity to do that, to actually be certified and to really have the proper tools and the proper language and the proper, framework in order to do this job at a professional level.
Yeah, nice. Okay. So when you made the decision to take the trauma-informed coaching on top of your certification that you already had, what was that decision? Like, why did you make the decision to do that? You talked about it a little bit in the beginning, but it's always interesting to have that kind of deeper understanding of how that trauma-informed piece of it linked into what you are currently doing.
So as a coach and as a facilitator, I was often running into the situation where participants sometimes would become triggered during my sessions. We talk about sometimes in the training around anti-oppression. We talk about, anti-racism. We talk about systemic discrimination. And these conversations and these topics raise, memories sometimes and would trigger some of the participants. So I always knew that there was an opportunity for me to support that individual, but I didn't really know quite how. And I wasn't really quite understanding what was happening, right? As someone I would provide a scenario around an experience, and one person would start crying, for example, or would need to leave the room, would need to walk away, or would start sometimes burst and into a scream that was very angry. And I couldn't quite understand what it was. I mean, I empathized with them, but I couldn't quite understand what was that. And when I came across the trauma-informed training, it automatically, created a connection for me. But when I actually took the training, that I better understood what was happening. These were manifestation of their trauma, right? They were stuck in an experience. They were stuck in a certain memory. And every time a situation would remind them of that memory, then they would get triggered and it would create a certain trauma. And being able to have now the tools and the ability to set the tone in a way where I provide a space from the beginning where that experience is welcome.
Yes.
And my ability to be able to also design my facilitation sessions and my training where I take into account the trauma of certain communities, right? A certain group of people, then I'm able to not further perpetrate that trauma.
Right.
So the way I design the questions that I'll ask, the way I design the session itself, we make sure that we take into account that certain topics could trigger certain individuals, and we really make sure that we don't perpetrate that as much as possible.
So you're able to you're able to take it head on as a coach.
Exactly, and to be more proactive as well from the beginning, and not wait and say, okay, this is happening, and it could have been avoided. Now I know it could have been avoided if I didn't address or raise a certain, or if I am going to raise a certain topic where I know it could be triggering, then I give a warning, and I even sometimes let them know that we have that space for you, that if you need to take some time out to do so, and we'll be able to, as a trauma-informed coach, I'm able to afterwards have a one-on-one session with them in order to explore that a little further if they need it.
Yeah, I can see your passion. That is very exciting to me to see that.
I feel so proud to be able to support my clients and not just listen and then feel, oh my God, I can't believe this happened to you, but I actually could help them and support them in moving to a solution focused place, more of a positive place to help them move beyond the traumatic event. Is to me like the biggest gift I could have given myself, and I'm giving it back to the world.
Yeah, and thank you for doing that and showing up in that way for sure. You know, I mean, I think every trauma-informed coach is a light in the world out there for sure. So yeah, yeah. So so what are the challenges then in some of the work that you're doing?
So yeah, for sure. Some of the challenges would be that when some of the clients are dealing with trauma, I'm not able to fix it and support them in the full capacity in only 1 or 2 sessions. So so to be able to really, provide them the service of, being following a trauma-informed session, particularly, is a service that I have to sell all the time.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's, I want to come across, I don't want to come across as if I'm trying to upsell them and, try to sell them an extra additional service, but it is a service that's available that actually could help them. And I advise them of that, and I inform them of that. So a lot of the time when I show up, when I'm called to come in and to provide a service, it's never from the trauma-informed perspective.
Of course not. Yeah.
I end up having to observe that there's a need for it, right? Yeah. And that's when I think we need to promote it more. That expertise and that professional tool need to be more promoted. So because we hear it a lot in community activism, now a lot of organizations are recognizing that they need to be more trauma-informed, but to actually have trauma-informed professionals that are certified and that are, accredited to actually know how to do that work is not well promoted yet.
Yeah, and I think you hit the nail on the head for sure. It's about us coming in and educating our clientele, about what facets of that coaching, skill set that we have. And making organizations aware that having a trauma-informed piece to their structure at wherever it is really important.
Yeah, absolutely. It's essential nowadays. I mean, we live in a society now that the public is demanding more of a moral and equitable accountability from institutions, Canadian institutions. Yeah. And that comes with more creating an awareness around the soft skills that are necessary in order to capture these things. So it's no longer just based on capitalism, only driving the bottom line. Now people want more. People are tired. People are burnt out. Yeah. And it's good to be able to provide an environment that's richer. We need to integrate and that piece definitely.
And I think the trauma piece of it is being talked about more and more. That whole mental health piece of it is coming to the forefront and where it should be, right? Absolutely. Instead of being shoved aside, right? It's like let's work on this. Let's support, our people. Let's have a healthy environment for everybody that is within that setting.
Yeah, and we're removing the stigma as well, right? Which was very important. I mean, I was the community chair of the Ottawa Police Community and Action Committee, and these are frontline officers, and they are often experiencing situations that are traumatic. Yes. And one of the observations that I found was that they should all have mandatory therapy as far as I'm concerned, because for the thing that they experience and they live every day. And you would know that, let's say I would have a police friend who would just come from a double, triple murder. And then he would come to a corporate meeting with community members, and he would look like nothing just happened when I just spoke to him, an hour ago, and this is what he just came from. And I thought to myself, this cannot be normal, to normalize this dramatic event. And to me, it was something that they needed to make mandatory, to have that support in terms of, taking care of their mental health, was something that I advocated for, right, at the time. So definitely, there's a need for it, and especially, frontline workers that are dealing with, that are caring for people, right?
Because if we're not caring for them, they're not caring for us.
Absolutely, sure. And that's scary. Once they can't care for us anymore, then I don't know, what do we have left?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So just as we start to wrap up this conversation, because I always like to keep it just short and sweet and yeah, what advice would you give to anybody that might be looking to work in this field of trauma-informed coaching?
Well, get certified. Okay, it's important to actually have the tools to understand what is trauma, to understand how does it manifest itself in our society, to individuals. And once you actually are able to understand that, you also understand the mind, right? I think there was a module where we talked about neuroscience and how our mind is affected through different experiences. And these knowledge are key. They're really key to creating like a professional that's more in tune with the need of their client. So I would say that, yeah, definitely get certified, because that knowledge and those tools are key, are essential, but also be able to promote the fact that you could provide that service and that gift to the world. It's a gift that we are going to need. More and more people are going to need post-COVID. People are going to be living with traumatic, anxiety coming from the COVID era. And we need to be there to support them, to help them move beyond, moving beyond the spirit, we need to help them move beyond that place where they're stuck. So I would say it was one of the best things I've ever done. Honestly, I don't even feel like I'm working when I'm doing this work. I feel like it's something that I would do for free.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it depends on your personality, but for me, it was one of the best decisions I've ever made. I'm very, very glad. I think there's only about 250 of us right now in Canada.
There are.
Yeah. So I like to, to use that as a key indicator, as a special, like very specialized tool that I could provide. But I would definitely tell people to get into that field, because we need more. Even therapists now and social workers need that support. They cannot do it alone. So even social workers that are working in the front line need a trauma-informed, professional, or a trauma-informed knowledge to do their work in a way that's centered around that. Psychiatrists as well are acknowledging more that kind of service. So yeah, there's an opportunity there. So I would definitely, I tell everybody that listens, I'm trauma informed, and I could do this and I could do that, and and
Yeah.
so yeah.
And I think you said something that's really key there about being certified, right? And so and letting people understand and know there's differences in different certifications.
Mm-hmm.
So the certification that you took is accredited by the International Coaching Federation.
Mm-hmm.
And that is key, right? Making sure that you have that standard of education and that it has met that criteria and is accredited by the International Coaching Federation.
That's right. It was not as easy as I thought. I figured, it can't be hard. I'm just going to take a coaching training. But no, the requirements to finish the program was much harder than I thought. But I'm glad that I did it. But if I did know, to be honest, because I get busy sometimes, if I did know that it was going to take this rigorous process, I probably would not have started. But the fact that I started and I had to go through this rigorous process, I appreciate it more now, because I know that, I'm now equipped. I'm very equipped to be able to serve.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, I mean, and I appreciate that honesty, that's for sure. I think when I started my coaching journey, I felt the same way, right? I mean, it was a very rigorous standard of education that we were adhering to. And but now, 11 years in, I am so grateful that it was there, and that accreditation or that certification is what sets me apart from every other coach that is applying for the same type of position or that I was applying for.
For sure. And then even when I'm doing my community work, right, I've been involved in organizing protests and movements and things like that in the Black Lives Matter movement. And
Yeah.
being certified as a trauma-informed person, I was able to include that aspect to the planning as well, and being on site and identifying people that would be triggered and supporting them in that way. So, you know, it's a skill that I take with me everywhere I go, everywhere, and no matter what I do. So
Yeah.
it's an asset. It's an asset that's paying like 10 times fold at the end of the day.
Nice, nice. Well, thank you for showing up this morning. I honor you as a trauma-informed coach,
Thank you so much.
and the time that you spent with me here today.
No, thank you for designing it. I have to say it was an amazing training. And honestly, like, I don't know how you came up with the idea, if it was something that you just, you know, came, but it was a great idea. And the fact that you were able to actually manifest it, right? That's one thing, the idea. Then after that, to implement it and to manifest it, it was beautiful. So thank you for that. Thank you for your part in providing that.
Yeah, well, for us, our journey began when we were doing the coaching for the Canadian military.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and it was through 7 years of that experience, then other coaches coming to us and saying, what are you guys doing? Because you're making a difference out there.
Wow.
And that's how the training started. And we designed the training, and then we had it accredited by the ICF. Yes.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now we'll stay in touch, because now we have a network. We're a network of coaches. So we'll be in touch for sure.
Yeah, perfect. All right. We will talk soon, and have an amazing, amazing day.
Thank you. Have a good day.